Qatar opens Mideast first World Cup. Rich nations relent on climate aid to poor at COP27. Hong Kong finds carcinogens in more than half of fish oil supplements. Giant panda gifted to Taiwan dies. Billionaire launches $25 billion fund for Ukraine reconstruction. Massive flock of sheep walking in a circle for 16 days straight. Iranian protesters set fire to Ayatollah Khomeinis' house. Dwight Howard stuns in crazy Taiwanese Pro League debut. Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It's Monday, November 21st, and here are your top stories. Qatar on Sunday opened the Middle East's first FIFA World Cup before global leaders and soccer fans who have poured into this energy-rich nation. With American actor Morgan Freeman's magnetic voice and an Arabian theme of camels, the opening ceremony began with a promise of everyone is welcome. On hand Sunday night at the opening was UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and other leaders.
الأجيال القادمة لها المستقبل وسعيهم ورا هيرات نجمع منها دانات أحلام الطفولة البريئة.
The media reported that Qatar, like Saudi Arabia, follows an ultra-conservative version of Islam known as Wahhabism, yet the country will allow alcohol to be served in hotel bars and at a FIFA fan zone in the country. However, Western nations remain out of the ceremony and match Sunday night. Qatar has come under severe criticism for its stance on LGBTQ rights and its treatment of the low-paid laborers who built the over $200 billion in infrastructure ahead of the tournament. The world's poorest countries have scored a historic victory at the COP27 climate summit after countries agreed to set up a fund to help poor countries that are being battered by climate disasters. The EU, the US, the UK, and other developed countries have all agreed in principle that a funding facility for loss and damage should be set up. But rich countries argue that rapidly growing economies such as China and Saudi Arabia and other petrostates should contribute to rather than receive funds to repair climate loss and damage.
Disaster preparedness for children and youth, besides the presidency events that took part of the day.
According to an overarching agreement for the UN summit, the Egyptian COP27 approved the tax provision to set up a loss and damage fund to help developing countries bear the immediate costs of climate fuel events such as storms and floods. But it kicked many of the most controversial decisions of the fund into next year, when a transitional committee would make recommendations for countries to adopt at the COP28 climate summit in November 2023. The South China Morning Post reported that Hong Kong's Consumer Council has found a cancer-causing substance called glycerol in 14 tested samples of fish oil supplements, and up to 24 were found with the contaminant 3-MCPD, out of which 3 had levels that surpassed the 2,500 microgram per kilogram limit set by the European Union. The council noted the percentage of fatty acids that could increase bad cholesterol in the blood varied considerably across the 25 samples it had tested from major brands.
Daily dose of health supplements might not be as healthy as they seem.
South China Morning Post reported that Nora Tanfeng-Yi, chairwoman of the council's Research and Testing Committee, said that the Center for Food Safety had ordered the manufacturer to stop selling the product. The council urged the manufacturers to improve quality and label their products accurately to safeguard consumers' health. Tam also reminded consumers that omega-3 fatty acids can be found in a lot of foods, particularly fish, so you should think twice about whether you really need to take these supplements. The BBC reported that a giant panda gifted by China to Taiwan in 2008 died on November 19th after a period of ill health. The BBC also said that the Taipei Zoo first noticed Tuan Tuan was ill in August when he began suffering seizures. Vets from China were called to examine him, and scans showed that he had a brain lesion and he was placed on medication. The 18-year-old bear's condition later became irreversible and he could no longer live a quality life. Tuan Tuan died, which left Yuan Yuan and 2 female cubs, Yuanzai and Yuanbao.
Now, a giant panda gifted to Taiwan by China died at Taipei Zoo. The panda was gifted about 14 years ago. The BBC
said that Tuan Tuan and his breeding partner Yuan Yuan were given to Taiwan when relations with China were more cordial. After their arrival in Taipei, Tuan Tuan and Yuan Yuan became huge attractions, and Yuan Yuan gave birth to 2 female cubs, Yuanzai in 2013 and Yuanbao in 2020. However, relations have soured since then, with Beijing becoming more belligerent. The BBC said that in a speech last month at the opening of the Communist Party Congress in Beijing, President Xi Jinping refused to rule out using force to unify Taiwan.
that time on my own, I never just thought I'd be there. I take your blessings with your heartaches too. It's so easy and so wonderful to know it's you.
学习，一切从今天开始。FUNDAY 英语。
Australian mining billionaire Andrew Forrest has launched an investment fund that is hoped will be worth at least $25 billion to help rebuild war-torn Ukraine. Mr. Forrest and his wife have committed $500 million to the fund. The Ukraine Green Growth Initiative plans to invest in primary infrastructure such as energy and telecoms networks. The fund said it had been working with Larry Fink, the chairman of investment giant BlackRock, and hopes to gain the support of sovereign wealth funds and other professional investors. Since starting work on the investment fund in early March, Mr. Forrest said that he had discussed a plan with a number of world leaders, including U.S. President Joe Biden and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Mr. Forrest told the BBC capital would be available the instant that the Russian forces have been removed from the homelands of Ukraine. The president sees that as an opportunity to completely replace old coal-fired nuclear power stations with brand new green energy. Dozens of sheep have been eerily walking around in a circle for 16 days straight in northern China's Inner Mongolia region. The bizarre behavior captured on the surveillance video shows the large flock continuously marching clockwise in a nearly perfect circle on a farm. The sheep owner, identified as Ms. Miao, claimed the spectacle began with a few sheep before the whole flock joined in. The media said although there are 34 sheep pens at the farm, only the sheep in one of the pens, number 13, have been acting this way. The media said that last week, the Chinese state-run outlet People's Daily reported the sheep are perfectly healthy and the cause of the behavior remains a mystery. Some other sheep can be seen watching from outside the rotation, while others at times stand motionless in the center. The media reported it's been suggested that these sheep could be suffering from the bacterial disease known as listeriosis, which is also called circling disease. It's a disease which is commonly caused by low-quality silage. Protesters in Iran have set fire to the ancestral home of the founder of the Islamic Republic, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Videos posted on social media show part of the structure in the city of Khomeini being set ablaze. Ayatollah Khomeini is said to have been born in the house, which is now a museum that commemorates his life. The fire at his ancestral house is one of the latest incidents in a wave of nationwide demonstrations directed at his successor, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and his government. Khomeini was the leader of Iran's Islamic Revolution in 1979, which deposed the country's pro-Western leader, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, and ushered in the theocratic state that still exists today. He served as the first supreme leader of Iran until his death in 1989, which is still marked by a day of mourning each year. Social media videos from Khomeini show dozens of people cheering as the fire breaks out, and activist networks said the footage was taken last Thursday evening. Fox Sports US reported that the 8-time All-Star and 2020 NBA champion Dwight Howard made his debut in Taiwan's T1 League last Saturday, and the veteran collected 38 points, 25 rebounds, 9 assists, and 4 blocks in the Taoyuan Leopards' 120-115 win over New Taipei's CTBC DEA. Howard was named the player of the game for the showing as he helped Taoyuan come back from a double-digit deficit early in the fourth quarter. Dwight Howard renewed his NBA record from stuffing the stat sheet in Taiwan.
You can feel the energy and excitement. It's safe to say it's a historic day for basketball in Taiwan.
Fox Sports said Howard shot 14 of 32 from the field and even netted 2 shots from beyond the arc. Additionally, the big man acted as a solid ball handler when necessary and was able to run effective pick and rolls. Yahoo Sports said not only did the former Los Angeles Laker make a surprising amount of attempts from beyond the arc, he also acted as a ball handler in pick and roll situations and dished out the ball like a point guard. The media said Dwight Howard debuts in Taiwan with a monster game. FUNDAY News will help you sharpen your English skills and keep you informed about international current events. If you want to know more about our other programs and keep learning about the world's most important topics in English, please click the link in the description below to join FUNDAY for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I will see you next time.